Step 1, find a job. In order to be financially successful, you actually have to start by making money. So that's why you need to get a job, because you need a stable source of income to help you put money in your savings account and afford things that you want. So having your own job has a lot of benefits to it that I think you guys should know. So first, you get to have a happy family, happy family, happy life. You get to provide for the people you love. And also, you get to provide for yourself. You get to fulfill your own desires, like maybe getting that new car. Getting a job also makes you a part of society because you are part of the economy now. And if you don't get a job, then you will go bankrupt and have no money to provide for yourself and look like this. Now it's time for step 2, opening a savings account and adding $1,000 to your emergency fund. So now that you have a job and you're actually making money, it's time to open a savings account and manage your money wisely. Along with the savings account, it's important to add $1,000 into your emergency fund. So I know you might be wondering, what is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is like a set amount of money that you put aside for things that you may not expect. Like this dude, if you feel sick and you need to go to the doctor, then you have medical expenses covered. Or if you're dumb and you get into a car accident, then you can pay for car repair without going broke. So with an emergency fund, you're set for making mistakes that you may not see coming.
Step 3. Open up a long-term account. We know what a retirement fund is. We can set that to the side. That's an example of a long-term account, but I want to talk about a different kind that most people don't do or know about, and that would be the index fund. That is my personal favorite and therefore my example tonight. Let's say this. When you go to invest, let's say using stocks, you get that share, and that's for a specific company, let's say like Tesla, right? You take an index fund, and that's essentially having a share in a market. Now, a lot of different things can be encompassed in this market, like the total stock market itself, or the S&P 500, which is the top 500 performing companies in the U.S. right now. See, you have, it's different things. And what's so great about this is that with a stock, if that company goes down, it takes a big hit one day, you have a big loss, right? However, in an index fund, and we're going to use our S&P 500 example here again, if Tesla were to take a hit, but Microsoft were to have a spike, they would cancel each other out. You see that? They're working together, and therefore your loss won't be nearly as much, and has a higher chance of actually going up. Because Tesla is here to stay, so they would go back up and you'd be doing good again. You're investing in 500 different, very well stable, performing companies, which kind of, I wouldn't say it makes it a low risk, but it decreases the risk if you were to invest in one single company. That's the way I see it. What's great about this is that you're paying a lower price than if you were to invest in these companies individually. Okay, because yes, you are getting a much smaller share, but you're having your money put into a lot of different companies, and let's say they all go up. You know what I mean? You're looking good. Also, so great about this is that it's passive. You don't really have to think about this. You can just get a couple shares over time, but you don't have to monitor the markets really at all. History shows that it's been constantly growing. It's been constantly going up. And anyone who's invested in it has had an awesome ROI or return on investment. So it's almost a no-brainer. And because the thing is, like I said, with stocks, you really have to look and you have to monitor and say, okay, what's going on here? What's going on there? How are they performing this quarter? You don't have to do that here. Warren Buffett himself, the top dog, number one investor, he says, look, someone who has no clue what they're doing, invest in an index fund, and they can outperform a professional investor over a 10-year period if they were doing individual stock trading. So that's something that I can do. That's something that you could do. So why not?
All right, now it's time for step 4, which is establishing credit as soon as possible. Good credit is essential for making big purchases throughout life, like a car, a house, utilities, cell phones, getting the best insurance rates, and even applying for some jobs. Building your credit history early on, like right now, may be one of the most beneficial things you can do, as long as you do it responsibly. What's important when looking for a credit card is to find one that fits your needs and that will give you the most benefits. Two very important things to remember are avoid going into debt with your credit card, which means spending more than you can afford, and also making all of your payments on time or even early. Putting these things into practice now will ensure that you build your credit score for the future and qualify for the best purchases. Next up, step 5 is reducing daily expenses. One of the ways you could do this is keeping a budget. A budget is essential for financial success. Basically means that you are keeping track of money coming in, money going out, and the money left over. The key points to this are first, tracking your income and knowing where all the money you have is coming from. Then you want to look at all of your expenses. See how much you spend on average for things and see if any of those things are unnecessary. And now with your numbers, you can set your budget. For example, your budget for groceries or your budget for shopping and leisure. And it's also important, like mentioned earlier, to save money for unexpected expenses. Now back to the overall topic of reducing your daily expenses, it really lies in making simple switches. What I mean by this is when you're at the grocery store, go for the non-name brand items rather than the name brand. The bottom line is to really examine all aspects of your life and determine where the unnecessary costs lie. With careful planning, like making a budget for reducing your costs, you can really save a lot of money and spend smarter, all by just modifying your spending habits.
Step 6. Avoid lifestyle inflation. In life, you will have to make some smart decisions. Most of these choices involves money. Say, for example, you're a high school student making $5,532 per year as a video game developer, and your boss gave you an additional raise of $80. You're now making $5,612 per year. You're thinking, should I spend my money on the latest Rolex watch, or save that money up for bills or nice things here and there? If you choose to spend that money on, say, a Lamborghini or the new Rolex watch in store, you're gonna lose thousands of dollars, and that's pretty much reckless spending. And if you choose to save that money up for bills or nice things here and there, or college funds in the future, then you're making good decisions with that money in your life.
Last but not least, we have step 7, creating a third flow of income. So having a third source of income lets you expand your net worth and do things that you probably couldn't do before. You ensure your job security. You are able to take risks and stock in new things. You have tax benefits. You get better social security. Pretty much having a third source of income just gives you more money to afford more luxuries of life.
How do I get access to a third source of income?
So you can start diversifying your investments and taking more risk in stocks. You can offer a service or sell something new. You can create your own product. You can get a side job, do different things that you've never done before, and you can even invest in real estate. Now you have heard of all of our steps to financial success. If you want to look like this or like this, make sure to study these steps and put them to use. Otherwise, like who she said earlier, you will look like this.